So he's saying you could select a section of that piece and make a bridge for that, right? If you mean by if you mean by literally creating a bridge from this point to this point and having mesh underneath, then no, because this is still all height based. So you wouldn't be able to. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, which will be really cool if you can create a terrain. Well, that's a good point. So I don't know, Stefan, if that's one thing that you guys would like to see. So he's saying it'd be cool because you know how sometimes you have natural bridges from like this point to this point. And I know it's been brought up before about making caves and things and, you know, having mesh that does that in even World Creator 2 or 3 is currently not possible because this is a height-based system. But if you were to if you had a terrain like this that you liked and you were content with the way the terrain looked, but you still wanted to create that bridge, you would have, I guess, two options. One option is to model something and then import that bridge in as an object. Two is if you were content with this terrain, then you would convert this to a voxel-based terrain or just a straight mesh. And then at that point, potentially, you know, move the mesh like a normal 3D modeling program. Is that what you're getting at, Kiwi? Because I'm assuming once you convert this in application to a mesh, you can seemingly move the vertices anywhere you want. But I don't know if that's the kind of direction you guys, Stefan, were wanting, how much you were wanting to open that door. Because once it goes to a mesh-based terrain, how would the filter, how could you model the filters to that? I mean, essentially at that point, you're just treating this program like ZBrush or the sculpting tool in Blender or Maya. You're just...
It doesn't really make sense in that case. It doesn't really make sense because we're building terrains here. If you want a bridge, then you know, bridges, what is a bridge? You can have a stone bridge, you can have a concrete, you know, metal bridge or whatever with different forms. So if we start doing bridges, then people show up and asking for, can you do a bridge type A, bridge type B, bridge type C, and whatever bridge is not supported. So actually the only logical approach would be, which also allows the most modular approach and most flexible approach, is that the people build the bridges in tools like Cinema 4D and something like that, and then just import it and connect these two, you know, things. That, I mean, one of the proposals is to have World Creator to build your terrain. Another proposal is later on to being able to import data and populate terrain with data. Then the more higher levels intention could be to use World Creator to create scenes, specific scenes where you want just to do some pretty nice render or whatever. And at that point, you know, any kind of models could be imported, not only vegetation stuff. And then you can just move it around and like in several other scene builders, rotate them, scale them, move them, translate them, you know. So I don't think it should be part of the terrain, because a bridge is actually not part of a terrain. Only like a bridge, which you know, where it forms a terrain, but this would only be possible with a voxel-based thing. So if you want to do bridges that are based on terrain bridges that are actually, you know, environment-like bridges, not human-made bridges, then the only approach would be to have it as voxel-based. And to build bridges, it will require that you can edit voxels inside World Creator. But this is nothing that we're aiming for right now, because I mean, I could say yes to anything, but it's not the main goal right now for World Creator. So
he just updated it.
We have to finish the filter stuff. We have to finish the model import stuff. We have to finish the texture import. We have to finish the tiling stuff. all those fancy new export possibilities. All this has to be finished first, and then we can talk about adding further functionality. And I mean, as said, voxels are still on the list. It's not dropped away, because I know the demand for voxels, and I personally like voxels as well. And I think they will allow a lot more stuff in near future. So it's nothing that we couldn't implement at all, but it's not a high priority right now. We have to first finish the base and have everything set up that makes World Creator as a terrain generator perfect.
So he updated it. He was meaning that in terms of not within World Creator, but I think he's talking about at the time when you export. So you can right now import a World Creator terrain into UE4 as a voxel. It's just hard to use textures and foliage.
Right. That's one of the problems of voxels, right? So it's nothing trivial that you can solve just right out of the box. It's it's quite a difficult step, and yeah.
So real quick, Roland, I missed it earlier where you said noise, more noise, more noise.
You said that all the time.
I know. Did right? You? Okay, so more noise. Like noise. In the texture or the terrain? Noise. I know the answer.
Yeah, you get your noise.
You get your noise.
You will get it, but before noise, we need to finish more important things right now.
You know what I think about your noise, Roland? You know what I think about your noise? Denoise.
Yeah.
Denoise it all. We'll just remove all the noise. Because who needs it, right? No, noise would be fun. Yeah, I'm sure noise is going to be a big one, especially with filters adding noise to. I would love to add noise to like edge detection and things like that. That'd be really nice. Like being able to adjust the noise of, say, this. You know how we were talking about earlier, having the eyedropper or magic wand kind of do these quick select things. If I could select just all the steep slope and say, hey, select all the slope, and then use the noise filter with the edge detect, adjustment for that particular mask, then that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Roland's like, I want masks. I want biomes like cornfields. Yes. Once masking comes into play, we're going to have a field day. No pun intended with your cornfields. So. Yikes. There it is. And let's see. even the soul. Oh, I mean noise mask. Yeah, I gotcha. Even the selection stamp can be noise.
I would dream of noise tonight.
Yeah, so
noise. What's wrong with you?
Noise.
I dreamt about noise.
You just scream noise in the middle of the night.
Yeah, my wife wakes up, just hits me. Shut up. Noise.
Actually,
they all want noise.
They all want noise. So Kiwi, back to your comment about hold on, let's see here. Let me do something real quick. I'm doing a fake mask so that I can see what the heck I'm doing. Since heat maps aren't in just yet, a quick way to do that is just to make your own little heat map of color to figure out where you want things to go, like this, and then you add the color. I actually did this exact method in the previous stream, but I never actually talked about doing it.
Oh,
So yeah, like right now, one quick way to do that is just use the color as a masking feature, just to see where you want to go. Let's do that. All right.
look at the reflection on that.
Oh yeah, you
thing
see
near the
right,
red. You see that?
right here. Yeah.
So awesome. It's so cool.
Okay, so back to Kiwi. One thing that I could do on a live stream is go through. I've been doing it off and on lately. Go through the process of grabbing something from Terrain.party's website in an obscure location of the world that doesn't have much data, and taking both the height map and figuring out how to take the satellite color imagery as a template to bring that into World Creator 2, both those things in the World Creator 2 using Photoshop as well. And the best way that I've found to get good detail out of a bad height map and it not look bad in World Creator 2. Or I could just wait to do that and do the same thing in World Creator 3 before they add the dim data. Because once height maps are added to World Creator 3, I see myself going straight into this more and more. I can give you some of the data if that helps. Yeah, if you want to send me over a height map or a location that you're trying to grab, or even a location, whichever works, I can likely just do that live on stream 1 week. Maybe not. I want to keep the Wednesday streams every Wednesday. I want to keep those to World Creator 3, but I can easily do a stream on Monday or Tuesday of World Creator 2 to show some of those methods and see what I can do with your terrain. If you're interested. All right, let's see what we can do to this slope, because I want to do some stuff to it. Oh, that is really interesting. All right, so I'm actually going to use this distort filter for snow in a little bit. I could do it there too. How many octaves? We need more octaves. Raise your hand in chat if you know what an octave is. I'm always intrigued to know who actually knows what an octave is. Don't say it, Stefan. I want to see if anyone knows what an octave is. I know what it is, but I had to actually look it up a long time ago. Okay, so let's see if we can't actually make this a tad bit darker. This is the white one. There we go. Please add a debug view for the filters ASAP. It'll be very helpful for everyone in the beta.
It's the heat maps, right?
Valid point.
Yeah, we can add that. Yeah, it makes sense. It honestly makes sense. Yeah, it could be just a trigger that you turn on and you can see the changes. Great Barrier. Yeah, the Great Barrier Reef. I heard it's not that helpful to swim there.
Oh, sorry,
I missed. At the Great Barrier Reef, I heard it's not very helpful to swim there.
Oh,
you might end up with breakfast or something, or shark or something.
This is quite nice since he's wanting to add more noise.
The Perlin, yeah.
Yeah. my intention was actually to rough up these edges a little bit so it didn't look so stark, but Perlin noise kind of is nice to do that in a way to make it feel.
You said the word. Did someone say noise?
Did someone say noise? I did. I said it.
There you go. Here's noise. That's noisy.
Yes.
It might add an edge effect now, and you get even more noise.
So another thing, Kiwi, in addition to the height map and textures and stuff. So say like now you mentioned it's going to be a heck of a material detail in UE4. If you have like say the same green on different layers, the exact same texture material in the library, whatever, used in 3 different ways, instead of having those be all 3 different, you can combine them all in one single splat map or heat map and use that so that you don't have to have the textures multiplied in different ways. Now, if you're like in this case, I've got 4 different colors altogether, then you would have, yes, a different map for each individual type color. But some of these you could mix together if you want. So so let's see. White Island would be a neat volcano to do. Yeah, I'm gonna write these down and investigate those areas and see what we can do. One more white. Let's see, slope again. Drop that down to here. And then what was the what was the noise that I said I was distortion? I think it was distortion. How about which one was the best flow? Let's try. All right. So can't remember which one had the best effect, which flow effect was the best. Or if it was just straight flow. Here we go.
Small flow, maybe. Good try.
Small flow.
Yeah, there was a small flow effect as well.
Here we go. Adding that.
I don't know what you meant, but
no, holy smokes. All right, that one's definitely not. I think the slope is what's driving me up, actually. Let's take that one off and just see what straight flow does. Wowzers. Oh, that's the island. Oh, I have to look that one out. I forgot all about that. Let's make this not very smooth. Well, I don't want too much.
You could use the text boxes again if you want more accuracy.
Oh, that's right. I totally forget about the text box. It's just subtleness that I'm wanting to do as another straight white. But let's add another white. So essentially, I've just made the terrain, the base terrain, a dark gray, and I'm adding different snow effects on top of it to try and implement as best as possible right now something. Okay, so choose convex. Okay, there we go. Let's just add a slight distortion to it. Oh, I'm editing the wrong thing. There we go. Scale is really high, really big scale. I think the higher octaves are pretty good. All right, so we'll accept that one. So it's just layer on layers of detail. And then we'll do another one that's another white, go figure. This time we're going to do the opposite side. So all the concaves. And this one's going to make it feel like snow is collecting in these particular areas. And I think that's fine. We don't have to make that one rough. Let's add our water back. You think the water's going to look nice? Wherever it's at. Oh, look at the reflection of the cliff.
Yeah.
So right now, I can't wait until we can adjust some more parameters to the water itself, because then that's going to be quite nice to move. Change the effect of how water is. Maybe do you think that we could change the color of the water depending on how close it is to the terrain itself? I know we can do that kind of with the clarity. You can see the terrain underneath, but if the water, especially on an island, got a little bit more, not tan, but you know how sand looks underwater, it's kind of got like a slight hue underneath.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I know we can do that here by changing the clarity, but it'd be really cool to be able to see that even more so, like kind of like fake it in a bit extra.
Actually, I think the clarity should be different at different locations.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
I would just take off that, equally looking water. And then the shores, we need some waves and some shores and all that. And this will be pretty amazing, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I think maybe also a little bit more control about the clarity. It's not enough. It's a bit more.
So let's see.
Oh, that looks pretty cool.
I got to do it. That's a a bug that I think I've brought up before was if you're selecting something right here, it moves the terrain at the same time. See how I'm moving?
Yeah.
So you got to do it off to the side. Oh, it still does it.
I see. Okay.
Oh no, I'm right clicking. Sorry, now I'm left clicking it. So you can have a bit more control. I think one notch. I'm just ever so gracefully doing it. Which layer is the semi-transparent ice surface? It's actually just the water layer or the water environment option. There's not really a layer, so to speak, but I am going to texture everything. I'm going to try and texture a bit more of what's underneath the water, make it a bit more smooth. Actually, since you mentioned smooth, let me add a smooth filter and possibly, actually, hold on. Sediment. I forgot sediment is a different one. So let's go here and let's make the sediment build up in the concave areas. Step size is big. I think the cavity is a bit too loosey-goosey. But I'm going to do a height select and make sure that it's from the cliffside down. So let's include everything below. And if I knew how high this was, I could guess. Let's just see where this takes us. All right, so there we go. There's the edge of the sediment. So let's bring the sediment down to about right here at this ledge. And then I'm going to smooth it out with this top parameter. And bring it down just a tad. Smooth it out even more. And bring this down. All right, so now we've essentially just added more sedimentation to the bottom part of the terrain here from down below. You could bring it into UE4 and use those free ice materials from a couple months back. Cool Ices, it's called. Yes, that'd be really cool to use some. That'd be really nice to apply a texture, like an ice texture to the water. Or one thing that I'll actually showcase it here in just a second before I go too far. But let me increase the water level here, and I'll show you something that I've actually forgot to mention. So let's incrementally increase the water. Maybe the sedimentation really lowered things up. There we go. So now it's not bad. It's not perfect. I could spend way more time on trying to get it to work out. But it's passable. I feel like sometimes on live streams I could do better, and people will be like, "You're the guy that does the videos. You should be better at making landscapes." But sometimes, like right now, I don't know all the answers to making this particular terrain perfect. It's just a lot of trial and error. And I'm sure other people can contest to the trial and error nature of trying to figure out which terrain combinations of not only textures, but materials and filters work out better than others. So let's try and get the terrain to boost up to this point. Increased it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Trying to make the ocean level just a little flatter. You can see on the left of the screen, it's increasing ever so slightly. But the sediment filter is a bit strong. Let's change the length to something really low. There we go. And go back to the water level and decrease it again. Think. Hello, camera. There we go. See how much lower this is? That's what I was wanting. I was wanting the textures and stuff to come through the water. So not bad. Oh, you got a whole new monitor and goes well with your 2080 Ti, a 34-inch Titan Army monitor. Is that like a 16:9 or is that an ultra wide monitor?
Tyler, I gotta leave.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, you can go ahead. I'm actually about to.
PM.
Oh my gosh, it's 1? No,
it's 9. It's 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. Yeah, it's actually couching time.
That's perfectly fine. The stream is about 20 minutes longer than I intended anyway. So I'm going to do one more thing and then call it quits after this. But essentially, this was the effect I wanted to go after anyway. Something similar.
Yeah, perfect.
But
it looks really great.
Yeah, thanks for joining in, man. I can see you on the next one if you want. But we can try and maybe
next time again. I'll be there.
All right. We'll try and start it at an earlier time. Today was a little fluke. So, all right. You take care, man.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Let's save this real quick. And since saving is an option, I'll share this with you guys to manipulate it on your own and see what you guys want to do with it. But the one thing I wanted to do real quick, let's turn off the water. It's part of sculpting. So just like one thing that'd be really cool is you could raise the lower portion of the terrain or the higher portion of the terrain, like control the cutoff level. Just like in Quickscale Mixer where you add a texture and that you can base that texture to come from below or to come from above, and it like squishes and manipulates the texture based on that data. So one thing that we can do is we can go into the filter structure again. And this time, if we were to, hoping this works out right, let me select all of this point here. I misclicked. Hold on 1 second. Let's select everything that we can get our hands on in this area. Hey, welcome. Welcome. Glad to see you here. Yeah. So one thing that we could do is, yes, we could texture a lot of this in a mixer, but we could, which is really fun application to texture landscapes in, but Mixer does have its limitations on large scale terrains. It's just nature, by its nature, I don't think is able to handle super large meshes like that, because then you can it kind of gets a little finicky sometimes, depending on the scale of the terrain. But anyway, so say we want to raise everything down here up without interfering with, the cliff edge here or this piece. And we could do a min and max operation where it'll just raise or lower based on those certain operations. So I'm having a second to remember. All right, so that is it. All right, so we will undo this. Let's see what min adjusts. So it only adjusts that application, linear and align. All right, so we could align to a maximum operation. Let's see how well this works. There we go. So with the align edit mode, operation mode set to max, we can then raise every part of this lower terrain up to, about where our cursor is. So say the cursor is midway up this cliff edge. If I hit shift and move up, you can see the lower portion of the terrain is moving up, but the remainder of that cliff is, for the most part, staying the same. So this is a really cool way, once you figure out the right modes and operations to set, we can just go up and down and change the lowest point of the terrain. So this is really nice to just have that sort of operation. And that operation just, reminds me a lot of Mixer, of how you add a new terrain in or how you add a new texture in. You can set that texture to be based on below or above. So that's just a pretty cool little method of doing that real quick. So let's just, for fun's sake, rotate the sun this direction. Maybe do this. Let's just find a good angle for a screenshot. All right, hopefully, let's save this real quick. Hopefully it'll let me take a screenshot. And let's open the folder for that screenshot. So it's elf. There we go. There's probably the screenshot that I'll use for the thumbnail to this video. All right, so we've been going on for almost 2 hours. I'll leave the floor open for a couple more minutes. If you guys want to ask any questions, this was essentially the extent of the terrain that I was wanting to play with today. Was to create some sort of shelf idea, ice and water. We could spend a whole lot more time on this, but I think I don't want to go any longer than 2 hours, because then video editing this or downsizing this video would be quite crazy. Do you have green shot? Pardon my ignorance, but what is green shot exactly? Anything like ArtStation, is it? A tool. Yeah, I'm going to have, this is recording right now, so I'm going to try and get it ready for everyone by the weekend and stuff. Oh, okay, I see. I don't have that. Typically for screenshots, I just go down here, type scissor, and then I can just grab, whatever I want of the screen. That's just typically what I've done. But I wanted to do the in-app screenshot. I have to look into GreenShot. Maybe it's easier to work with than the Windows 10 snipping tool. But anyway, JP, yeah, I've got this recording, so definitely check out the 4K version, or you can just watch the VOD. Twitch will keep the VOD open for a few weeks, so you're all good there. All right, anything else you guys can think of? This is the first stream I've been to. Thanks for doing this. This is a great creative battery charger. Well, thank you. This is really fun to do. I'm going to try and keep doing these World Creator 3 streams every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. there's no planning ahead of schedule. I haven't pre-tested any of these filters or textures. It's just all at lib as we go. But there may be some that I pre-planned to try and give you guys more of an instructive workflow. But it's just free flowing. I'm really glad that you guys. I know it's Thursday for you. It's Wednesday at 3:00 in the afternoon for me. So anyway, well, I think that is about does it. We just hit our 2-hour mark. So thank you guys very much for joining me, and I will see you next week in the next one. See you guys.